Well, hi everybody. Ever since this big plunge took place, trying to figure out just what part these bullion people play in the overall picture. And one of the things is that I'm trying to compile as best I can how much bullion is actually stamped out a year, and how come none of the people that talk about silver on the major networks um, ever mention it. Now, the U.S. Mint, I don't know, I probably don't even have I just had my figures here anyway. Uh, Last year they made 33 million, 742,500 eagles. And the best year they had was 2011, where I guess they made, oh, my writing's so bad, either 39 or 35 million. But it's a lot, it's a lot of eagles. And this year, just to show you some of the differences, uh, they're going to turn out 350,000 of the Taku turtles. Now, 350,000 sounds like a lot, but when you consider the 7 billion people in the world, that that it's amazing that they don't have to print up millions and millions of them, because it's one of from our little group anyway. It seems to be one of the more popular, and it's a beautiful little coin. Now I'm not getting any this year because they are not so far because of the premiums are so high. Even though I'd like to have one because of the new set of arms on the back that replaced the queen. But there's this uh, other thing. Well, let's try to do some of these numbers. The best I can figure is between between the United States and Canada, there's over 50 million ounces are used in just maple leaves and in eagles. Now, up to 2 years ago, the Austrian Philharmonic was the most popular coin, so they had to be selling in the 30 million range also. So we're already at 80 million and over. So altogether, who knows? It might be 85 million, 90 million bullion coins a year. Uh, not not even counting the 2 ounces and the 5 ounces and the 100 ounces. So who knows? We might um, count bullion might account for 100 million ounces, which would be 12.5% of all the silver. Now, another thing that's interesting is that each year uh, uh, they've exceeded 30 million eagles, uh, and this year with the Kennecott disaster, that takes 16% off of their 5 million ounces. So will they, because it happened, oh, I don't know, 5, no, not even that, maybe 3.5 weeks ago. Uh, so maybe they'll be missing 3.5 million ounces just from Kennecott alone, and 5 million next year. So then does this mean that next year the amount of eagles will come down to 25 million just because it's only U.S. Silver that's used in this? But it doesn't matter. An eagle is probably more generic now than the Sunshine Mint. I doubt that they make 35 million. I doubt that Apmex makes 35 million of their generic 1 ouncer. So why everybody goes crazy over eagles is beyond me. And then they polish a few of them up and sell them like crazy for MS69s and MS70s. And I know what you're going to tell me. If you got some in the 80s that are MS69s and 70s, you got some real money there. But why it's real money, I have no idea. Because the sheer numbers of them out there make them a generic. But that's the shiny people. Now, premiums are so damn high that it just doesn't, in most cases, it doesn't make sense. And I appreciate everybody that's pointed out where the lowest premiums on the lowest are for the lowest 1 ounce, whether it be a bar or whether it be a round. But on everything that everybody seems to like, there's extraordinary premiums. I saw pandas at $10 over spot. Pandas. They're making 8 million pandas and they want $10 over spot. Eagles, $7 over spot. That's crazy. Why in the hell, you know, would you pay a 30% premium for a friggin' eagle? And more than that, a 40 to 42% premium for a panda. But the shiny people like them, and they say we buy what we like. Well, good for you. I buy only because shortly down the road here, I'm going to have to start cashing some in, as that's my retirement fund, and I thought it was a decent investment over the last 30 years. But we have a good percentage of this if it does amount to 100 million ounces a year, and it is 12.5%. But the problem is the big boys all count that as above ground silver, and they count it as available. And it's not really available because you and I, the vast majority of us, are hoarders. And so many of you say you're setting this aside for your children, or you're going to give it to your grandchildren. You're not going to sell it because this is extra money that you're putting in here. Which brings me to the latest silverfish video that he put up tonight, and he's discussing that there's some gentleman come up with the idea of everybody buying silver on May 1st. Well, this isn't anything unique because in India, it's for generations they've been buying silver, or they've been buying gold on and one day on May. I don't know if it's May 1st or what day, but each year you if you go back, you can see the spike in gold price going up to that day, and then it declining some right after. And it's just like a celebration thing that they use this for dowries and things, but they all go out on that day and buy as much gold as they can. Now, India just raised their import tax on precious metals from 4% to 6% because they don't like to see these dollars go overseas, and they don't want their people to buy gold. But it had a slight effect in the beginning, but now people are coming in India are coming back to gold like crazy, and India continues to be the largest user of gold and silver in the world. And you would think gold perhaps, but silver is surprising because you think it would be China and all the industrial uses they have. But silverfish, the idea that we should go out and buy silver on May 1st to try to affect the price of silver. Why the hell? That's the last thing in the world we want. Why would we all want to go out and buy and jack the price of silver up when if you have money you want to buy it as cheap as possible? Why why would you go out and pay these high premiums for silver just to just so you can say, well, I bought some on May 1st because Silverfish, somebody that he saw, said buy it on May 1st. Listen, you buy it when you can afford it, and you buy it, and you buy what you can afford to get the most silver for. And the best way to deal with these people with high premiums is starve the sons of bitches. Don't buy. Until silver makes a massive head upward, which I don't foresee. I see it crawling back, but until industrial use comes to 62 to 65%, we're not going to see the $50 silver that everybody's talked about. But once it exceeds 65%, we might very well see 75, $80 silver. So my advice is, you know, Silverfish, if I had his voice, and his tendency not to down talk anybody. Now, come on, there's a lot of people out there just jerks, and you can't say, well, let's give the jerk another choice, another chance, a third chance, a fourth chance. Listen, if I see something that I think is wrong, then I'm not going to go along with it because I don't want to insult a guy that's who come up with this idea. So you're not going to get the pat on the shoulder from everybody at this station. You'll get what I think is the truth. And I think the best thing you could do on May 1st is, if you were going to buy silver and you found some place that's really cheap, is go buy it. If these premiums stay as high as they are, and you don't go buy some bizarre generic stuff, because that's silver. It's 999, and there's no doubt about it. And you won't have any trouble selling it later on. But don't pay these high premiums. The only way to beat these high premiums is to starve these sons of bitches, not feed them, starve them. So until they're willing to part with some of their silver at a reasonable premium, these big guys, listen, the price of silver shouldn't affect APMEX. It shouldn't affect Providence. It shouldn't affect Gainesville. It shouldn't affect North Western. It shouldn't affect any of these guys, because as soon as they get an order for a maple leaf, they are filing that order, and they're not sitting on vast quantities of this stuff. They keep turning it over, and it's the turning over of it in which they make their profit. So I don't think that they run away and hid silver, but I do think that their attempt to bleed the public with these high premiums is tantamount to robbery. And the best way to deal with these guys isn't feed them, it's starve them.